morning, Marcel. I want to take a moment here and review the lesson we had the other day. When we take a look at your golf swing here, as you originally set up, and when you take your stance, and you take your grip, and you get all your positions ready to actually get ready and swing the club, what we want to take and is kind of analyze this position. Whereas your position overall is not terribly bad, just getting started and getting in your position. But what I do see and what things that we can do initially to kind of help you here in the beginning is to start from the basics. So when you start from the basics, the first thing we're going to look at here is that of your stance. When we look at your stance here, this is what I'm going to point out. You can see that your legs are very upright, little to no bend in your legs. And then when we look at your, when you bend from your waist here, what we can see here is that, there's still a little bit of a hunch in your back. In this case here, chin's kind of buried down in the chin. And it's just, not initially what you would call an athletic position or that of a stable foundation. Something that you can make a turn back to the back on and turn back through to the left-hand side. So initially what we did was try to change the stance, get you in a little bit better position. Second, as we went along from here, what we worked on next was trying to get you into a little better position time after time with your grip. Taking a look at your grip and making sure that it's in a better position here. And it too, as you take your normal golf swing, we started from the ground up. And we worked on your takeaway, and there again your follow through. So you can watch here initially as you go to take the club back. You can almost watch how your right hand kind of picks the club up, make the turn back, and right from there you go instantly right up with the golf club. Right from here you go right up. You make little to no shoulder turn here, and you just go straight up with your arms and your hands. Compared to if I was to show you. This is just a simple individual here. If you're watching golf on TV, this is Nick Wyatt here. He's been on tour here, been making some noise out on tour here. But what you can see here is a little extension here. Got the position back great here as it goes up. Good shoulder turn. Now look at the top of his golf swing in relation. Look how his hands are a little higher than his head here. Left straight arm straight back, forming a right angle in a sense here compared to little to no shoulder turn here, which you can see his full shoulder turn in this position. But your arms are here and almost greater, less than a right angle on your initial golf swing here. So what we're trying to do and what we try to look at here is trying to get you to one, start a little better transition going back. So in order to make this turn here, as we take it back, we want to try to get you where you're utilizing a lot of your body. You can see the weight transfer is a little different here because what we see in this case is your knees going back here, whereas your shoulder and your head are kind of in a different position as well. So ideally, Marcel, what we try to work on is trying to make that full turn back. Then essentially making that turn back down and through your position. So let's get started and we'll talk about your stance overall here. So when we look at your stance, what we want to look at here is we're going to come back over here and kind of get you a little forward, get you in this position right here. So when we look right here, this is that essential position. You can kind of see the difference here. What I had you do, and when you think about it here, I'm going to have you stand back away from it. I had you lean forward. I had you flex your knees. I had you bend from your waist. Keep the back as straight as possible and let the arms hang natural over the ball. So when you see that, you see right there as you're flexing the knees right there. Bend forward. Look at the difference here now. Look at the flexing the knees right there. Big difference here. Here and here, night and day. Everything's a little more in line with one another. A little better position as you turn back, as you set up to it here. You see that chin up. Look at that chin right there. Big difference compared to what you see right here. Night and day difference. And good job, Marcel. I think you did a great job there. So you kind of feel that your weight is forward, your weight is in a better position, a little bit better position. So as we turn them shoulders back, we turn them arms back, we get into that better position time after time. So as we go to the next step here, and what we look at is going to be the grip. So we want to try to get your, the grip is essential. It's your hands on the golf club. By having your hands on the golf club is how you control the club back and forth. So what we look at was right here. This position here on the right-hand side is where you were originally when you gripped the golf club. We saw your wrist, we saw your fingers, and that V that your thumb and index finger formed was pointing at your chin, if not left of your chin. When you interlocked your fingers and you brought the right hand on, that V then formed on your right hand and went to your right shoulder. So essentially not, what we like to see is that the hands are facing one another and the V's are in a sense kind of lined up the same direction. That allows you to go back and forth time after time in a little more effective manner with your hands, having a better rotation of the hands going back and then a better rotation going through. So as you see that and as you feel that, it makes a bigger difference time after time. So coming into this now, this is when we look at your hands here. You can see as you go to put your grip on, there you start with the fingers, get your fingers here, wrap the hand, that thumb is right to the right side of the grip, and you can see right there how that V is now pointing to your right shoulder. We do see one, maybe two knuckles here, but ideally we don't see the inner part of the wrist like we see on the right hand side, and we don't see your fingers like we see over here on the right hand side. Then when you interlock your fingers, you bring that right hand on, you can see the right hand is about in a similar position of where you were before. Put your thumb down. Now your hands are facing one another, and essentially now they're going to go the same direction time after time. And that's what we want to do, to try to make sure that they operate together and then they go back and forth together. So good job there. So next, the last thing that we talked about here was then going to be that of what I call the waist-high position, or the waist-high drill. And we're going to start on this side of it here and kind of show you this position. So what I wanted you to do is to create a barrel for yourself. By creating a barrel for yourself, it helps you create a center as you go back and forth from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Now, by doing this, what we will see, or what we do initially, is just that. I have you centered up here. Oh, look at that there. I just went right through it without even looking at it there. Alright, so I'm going to rewind you here. So each time you do this, you see how I had you step up right into it? Alright. Let's take you back all the way down to the beginning here. Alright. So I caught into here, so I laid two balls out here. Laid a ball out here to the left-hand side. Laid a ball just out to the right. Now, what I want you to do initially at the house is you can set up 3 tees. You can set up tee here, and tee here. Now, by doing that, you hit the tee going back. Toe goes up into the toe position here. Look at just at that position there. Look at the extension in your arms. Look at the turn in your shoulders. You see already a difference, right? Look how much right in this sense here, just by getting a little more extension on your turn back. Look at the difference in your shoulders. Night and day already, Marcel. Great job there. But as you look at this here, what we want to try to find is that as you come back down, and I'm going to review it again here. You look at it here, hands come down, we turn through to the left-hand side. So night and day difference here, but we're going to do this again here. So each time you do it, I want you to step in and step out, just like you see there. I'm kind of fast forwarding it here, but I want to get back to your center. So as you go back here, the two positions I want to push back essentially is going to be your left shoulder and your left hand. A one-piece takeaway, one-piece position as you go back. You go back, and that club doesn't change position, doesn't do anything in this pathway that you see here. By having this pathway here, you push back in this position. Do you hit the ball or the tee? And then that's when the club starts to rotate up to the toe position of the toe pointing up to the sky. Once you get to that position, then I want you then to allow the hands to fall back down. Because if you look in this position, you see that your shoulders are very close to being parallel to what the club is. And in a sense, that's a good position as we turn back up to the top and back around. But what we're going to do here, we let the arms fall now. And as the arms fall, the weight starts to push off the right-hand side. Hips start to turn through. We turn back to the left-hand side. And it's almost an exact same position that we've seen on the left-hand side, or on the right-hand side, where the left arm was parallel to the club at your feet. Now your right arm in front of you, the right arm is parallel to the club at your feet, the toes pointing up or slightly closed, and I mean slightly turned to the left, but you can see a big difference here compared to down, and especially right through the impact here. Look at the difference, the way your arms, you see a natural rotation here coming up and turning up to that left-hand side here. See how close you keep those hands to your body? Night and day difference here, Marcel. Big difference. Look how far away your hands are from your body to being out in front of you. Now, as we go forward, what I want you to do is 2 sets of 20 reps, stepping back, setting up, putting your grip on, getting your stance, and then taking the club back and forth nice and slow to where it feels a little more comfortable with you. All right? Now, as you do this, do it. I want you to look at it as you do it, and then once you feel comfortable, you should be able to get to the point where, and I'm going to give you the trick here. As you get to the point here, as we rewind you back to the beginning here, what you will find here is that as you do this, this head will end up staying centered and not moving off your center as you do this. Not bad going back, but coming through, that's where it changes. In a sense, that's where we ended up. You can see how that head's outside that position. Now, what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. So as we look at this here, we look at a model here, and we'll go back to Nick here, since we used Nick a second ago. Watch Nick's head. Here he is here. Watch how his head stays, comes out just a little bit, comes down through impact. See impact here, here. Here's that left-hand side. You see how that head's still in that position, and then finally when the hands are up above the head comes out of that little box position. So 2 sets of 20 reps, back and forth, nice and slow is what I want to see you do. As you do that, step back in, step back out, maybe add a wiffle ball in the backyard. But as you start to feel comfortable, keeping that head within the box. Now, if you have any questions, Marcel, I want you to give me a call. 314-724-6539, or shoot me an email at michaelwyattgolf@gmail.com. Thank you, sir.